Good day, everyone. August 27th, 2025. Today turned out to be quite interesting. I came for a murder trial at the Ontario Court of Justice and found the press hanging around. And I thought, what are they up to? Let's follow the press. Follow the press, Dave, folks. And I did. It was peculiar, to say the least, what I discovered. And I'm about to show you what I discovered. This is a little late in the day because I didn't have a chance to introduce myself, to say, this is David Lewis Wall, court artist, Toronto, Canada. Anyways, I followed the press up to, I didn't write the room, whatever room it was in, and it was for a police officer who shot a man. The man lived, and I had no idea what I was about to hear. The police officer's name is Andrew Davis, and what Andrew Davis did today in his court case, with the help of his lawyers, police officer lawyers, they agreed altogether that he plead guilty. Now, folks, you want this to happen, that the police take responsibility for what they do. But there's a peculiar part to this story, strange part. His superior said, shoot. And he shot. He was basically told to shoot the guy. The man was stabbing himself. And Andrew Davis shot him. Thank God the man lived. So when I came out of the courtroom, Desmond Cole was there in the courtroom watching as a journalist and activist. And I introduced myself. I've known him for years. And he said, I'm on my way downstairs to do an interview. So what you're about to see is the interview from Desmond Cole. And I'm sorry I don't know the name of the man who was shot, but his lawyer. And this is going to be on the news tonight like crazy. So check it out. And I'm sure that people are going to be shocked to hear and see the video, because it was released. The judge released the video to the public. And you're going to see and hear his superior say, shoot him. And he did. Here's the art piece that I did. There's Andrew Davis. There's the judge. Didn't get too much of him. And not a very good picture of his lawyer, but it's okay. Not Andrew Davis's lawyer, the victim's lawyer, who plans on suing for quite a lot of money. And there's Desmond. Sorry about that, Desmond. I'll fix that up later. But yeah, everybody was moving around quite a bit, except for the accused, who pled guilty today. He was 30 years old. He is 30 years old. And who knows what he's going to do now. But right now, you'll hear in the video what Desmond thinks should happen to him. And let's see what does happen. Will justice be served? And why isn't the superior pleading guilty too? She told him to shoot him. Anyways, watch the video. Thank you.
Everybody's okay?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yes? Everybody's good to go? Okay, thank you.
Can you just spell and say your name so
Sure.
others?
Yeah, Desmond Cole, DesmondCole. I'm an activist, a journalist, and I'm a friend of Devon's, who's been supporting him and working with him for the last 2+ years.
David Shellnut, DavidShellnutt, managing partner of the Viking Lawyer LLP. We are Mr. Fallon's civil lawyers in a claim being advanced violence in the Superior Court of Justice against several of the officers involved in the Toronto Police Service. And we've been assisting as well with the SIU investigation, just supporting Mr. Fallon through the entire process, including his criminal proceedings as well.
So we just each want to say a little bit about what we just heard in court today, and then we're happy to take any questions that you all have. And thank you all for being here. So we've just come from court and heard that Constable Andrew Davis, the police officer who shot Devon Fallon in February of 2023, has pleaded guilty. He's pleaded guilty, I have to note, to lesser charges than the ones that were originally laid by the SIU. Nevertheless, I would say that today is an important day I think it's an important day for Devon, first and foremost, because he's been going through so much over the last 2 years. We're hoping that you all are actually going to hear from Devon later on this afternoon of the mental and emotional pain that has come with being attacked like this. And if nothing else, I'm happy for my friend that this chapter of this horrible incident is coming to an end for him. That there isn't going to be a trial that drags on longer, that he's not going to have to sit in a courtroom and relive all of the traumas of that day. At the same time, though, I would note that the police in Toronto and our city have really not done much to make it less likely that shootings like the one that Devon experienced will happen in the future. This is going to happen again until our city decides that, particularly in situations of mental health crisis, there is a non-police, non-lethal response. Until we get there, this is guaranteed to happen again. We are going to be standing in this place, unfortunately, doing this again, because we're choosing, in situations of mental health crisis, to deploy lethal force rather than care and medical assistance.
Do you think it has to do with race?
Excuse me, I just want to finish if I can before, okay? Is that all right?
Yeah, sure, please.
Thank you. And then I will answer. So, in that sense, today is a really limited victory, and it's a really limited form of justice, because we haven't learned anything as a city yet. And we have to take the lessons. It's a miracle that Devon survived this incident. But this is going to happen again unless we change our policy, unless we change our approach. And I guess the last thing I'll say is that it is extremely rare for a police officer to be held accountable in a court for actions that they've taken to harm the public. I can't remember the last time a police officer has pleaded guilty to shooting someone in this city. I don't know that it's happened in recent memory. Maybe all of you in the media can tell us when the last time this happened was, because it almost never happens. And I think that is quite remarkable. But again, it's not really a victory, because it means that someone had to get hurt in our city and almost lose their life in order to see this day come. We want this to stop happening. We don't want to have to be here again in the future. And our city, our Mayor Olivia Chow, our Toronto City Council, they have options to stop this kind of thing from happening in the future. And we insist that this be a lesson about the need for non-lethal interventions, non-lethal forms of response to people in crisis, to people experiencing trouble in the streets, to people who are not hurting anyone else, and not a threat to anyone else, as you heard in court today. We insist that caring and responsible actions and responses be put in place instead of this lethal force that threatens all of us. And I'll just leave it there for now, and I'll turn it over to Dave.
I think that we've just seen a video of this incident for the first time. It's going to be made available to the media, and the public will see this. And I think that it should shock the public and perhaps will rock the foundations of policing in the city of Toronto. What we've witnessed is a junior officer with a firearm being instructed by a senior officer to the second most senior officer on scene, Richards, to shoot an individual who is far away and not presenting any threat to them and who is harming himself. Their response to a person in need, to a person who needed immediate support, was to shoot and kill him, attempt to kill him. What else is the outcome that comes from that kind of order? And I think that should rock the foundations of how he's viewed policing here in Toronto and across the province. It's a miracle that Devon wasn't killed. That was surely the likely result of this. We represent Devon in civil claims related to this matter, which will be significant. And we're working with our colleagues at the City of Toronto to address that. I can tell you that an incident like this has lifelong disabilities associated with it, physical and psychological. This propensity to use violence so quickly as we see in this video, it reminds me of the rates of use of force used against Black and Indigenous Torontonians being exponentially higher than anybody else. It's that quick jump to use of force when a Black person is involved. That has played out for us today on video. It's shocking, and we've had apologies from the police service before. When are we going to see some action? When are we going to see
the media is responsible for actually helping out. The media should be responsible. Instead of listening to these guys and watching, you guys just take this news and go sensationalize it because you need news. You should be putting the police on check. You guys should be out there doing that job because the media is responsible for the changes that we're going to see. Not us getting shot, not us getting brutalized all the time. And you say, oh, that we fight in court because that's all we can do. But then you guys have got everything. You've got everything to expose all these things and make those right changes and get all the way to the parliament to where we need to be. But you know what? You guys ain't going to do that shit. You just want the paparazzi shit. That's all you want. You trivialize our lives. I'm sorry you guys have to go through this shit.
No, bro.
So
but I want to tell you
that,
something.
man.
I want to tell you, we're actually grateful that they're here covering this. Because what we're saying, I think they're going to help us get it out there.
Hey, man,
you know
and
they
need to do more.
I hear you,
They need to do more because how long?
I hear you.
How long? George Floyd, Almond, there's going to be me next. Like how long? How long?
I hear you.
But I appreciate that because I got to deal with my own shit too.
Do your
like,
thing.
We're blessed. We're blessed.
We
We're
appreciate
blessed.
you. Thank you.
Just on the note of what Constable Richards did, she does give the order, shoot him. I mean, what consequences are there, or should there be for her?
We know that this was an officer, PC Andrew Davis, who was, as he said today, 53 weeks into the job. He was directed by a senior officer to shoot an individual. I don't know if that's something you turn down as a young officer. I've got to ask serious questions of the Toronto Police here. What's happening with Officer Richards? If that is the kind of action and training and results that are happening at the senior level, then we've got a lot of work to do here.
Especially that there were no one in the room, so no one was in danger.
No, if you read the police's report on this from last year, that that Chief Demkew submitted to the Toronto Police Services Board, they say unequivocally no one was in danger, except for Devon, of course. But he wasn't threatening the officers, and he wasn't threatening anyone else in the vicinity. He needed help. And the response was to use lethal force against him. So I don't pretend to be surprised about these things anymore. How many times have we seen this? How many times have we been in this situation and talked about this, particularly with Black men in the city of Toronto, that it's shoot first and ask questions later. It's use force first, arrest, deploy the taser, beat on people. And then as the facts emerge, there's expressions of regret. As Dave said, there are apologies. We're beyond that now. This is life and death every day in the streets of Toronto.
Was justice served today with this decision to plead?
I have to ask a real question, is that when you have such compelling video evidence like that, when you have the Toronto Police Service and the SIU both coming down very hard on these officers, why is there a plea deal? Why is a plea deal being entered? Why is it not aggravated assault? I can advise that my client is disabled physically. Psychologically, major traumas are still happening for him. Why is this not aggravated assault? Why was the firearms use charge dropped to a lower one as well? This, I think, is a pattern that we see in the quote unquote accountability of police in situations like this. Just this year, I've had the prosecutor's office here in Toronto drop another charge against PC Arakaza, who was on video seen punching my client who was in handcuffs. Drop that charge with a video. And now here they are entering a plea deal with one of the most shocking videos I've seen in my life.
Was there not a defense lawyer who agreed to this for Mr. Fallon?
Mr. Fallon has never been consulted by the Crown's office. I will say that the SIU Victims Unit has been very helpful and reached out to him a lot, but it is the prosecutor who makes the decisions on behalf of the public, and Mr. Fallon is a member of the public. He doesn't get a victim's lawyer in our criminal proceedings, so it's only the officer's lawyer and the prosecutor who represents the public. But I think the public's been done a disservice here today, and I really hope you all send some questions their way.
If I can just answer that a little bit as well. The amount of justice you can receive after experiencing what Devon did is quite limited. So for what our system provides, yes, this is a measure of justice. I think that. But it's not good enough, because we should never have been in this situation. A homeless person living in a park by themselves, minding their own business, should never have been attacked in this way. Obviously, we want to fight as hard as we can when someone gets hurt to get them the highest level of accountability that we can, that the system allows for. So this is a measure of accountability, a measure of justice. But what do we do with that when, as I said, no policies of the Toronto Police Service have changed, no approach has changed, the funding for the police who do this continues to increase. So they're actually being rewarded for doing things like this. So I'm very reluctant to pat ourselves all on the back and say justice was served here, when the bigger issue is a structural one that we're not addressing in the city of Toronto and beyond.
He will face a disciplinary hearing, after which he could lose his job, but you're saying that he's a scapegoat from his own circles.
Could you just clarify that? Sorry?
Well, if he's fired after a disciplinary hearing, there's no sense of justice because the TPS doesn't change the rules.
Well, I mean, I don't think that Andrew Davis should continue to be a police officer, period. I think that would be a good outcome from this situation, from a very awful situation, that he not continue to serve ever again in any police force anywhere. I just worry about us kind of celebrating that and forgetting that a man's life has been altered forever, that his family's life has been altered forever, that a community has had to come forward to try and figure out how to support him because, for example, the disability regime in this province and what you actually receive when you've been hurt the way he has been is so inadequate. So, yeah, it would be great if Andrew Davis never serves another day as a Toronto police officer, but that's only the beginning of accountability as far as I'm concerned.
A bit on the civil suit, who else is named? Do you know that yet? Who's being named besides this officer?
Yeah, we have named multiple officers that were on scene and involved, as well as the Toronto Police Service Board, which is standard practice in our civil procedure in filing claims.
I assume Sarah
Richards is the senior officer?
I don't have it right in front of me.
Okay.
But my belief is that we named every officer that was on scene.
And how much is the claim?
So how a civil claim works is that you claim for pain and suffering, which is significant in this case, physical and psychological trauma, and you claim for future care. And that's the kind of supports that are going to be needed from physio to psychotherapy. These are huge amounts of money that aren't covered by OHIP, as well as you have someone who had a work history up until very recently, and now the ability of them to return to work is significantly impacted, if not forever gone. So the claim is millions of dollars, and that's what happens when you take away the life and disable a very young man. You've got to pay a high price for that.
We want to thank all of you for being here, and there's been a slight change in our plan today, given this very shocking kind of thing that we just witnessed. I had promised you that at 12:30 we were going to do a Zoom call with Devon. It's just now 11:15 or so. Our plan right now is to meet.
Why don't we still do the Zoom?
Okay.
Because that's probably
could be at this point. Does everybody have the coordinates though? That like, if any of you don't, that you didn't get the email, if I forgot to send it to you, just approach me after this. I will be with Devon in a private location, and he'll be speaking and giving a statement by Zoom. He won't be taking questions. I just want to be really clear about that right now. You guys can imagine how much he has to deal with this video potentially coming out in the next few hours. So if you want to ask any more clarifying questions for me at that time, I'll be available. I don't know if you're available. Dave will be there. Devon will be present to give a statement. He won't be taking questions. Okay, 12:30.
Oh wait, do you want to do it after the?
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Anyone who didn't receive that email, come and talk to me now. I'll add you to the list, and I will consult and update you when that Zoom is going to be. Because I know court's 12:45 now, right? Yeah. Okay. So we'll let that happen. Maybe we'll